this episode of the podcast, we sit down with Shai, who is the executive chef over at YAFO. Look at that. He even has his own little sauce, and that's him, or his own little spice. That's him there. That's the YAFO logo. And he is famous for this spice here, but not only that, we talked about so much. We talked about him being a dad of 4 and still having the bandwidth, the energy, the ability to lead a team of 150. How he goes through strategically and methodically, and it's probably because of his background in the military, but he goes through and he sits down with each of his team that needs help, and he's like, okay, this person's gonna need help on this specific area because the manager doesn't have time to talk with this specific line cook. And so he's very methodical in his approach to business and how he approaches being an executive chef over such a big team and such a big organization. And it was cool because we also got to connect and talk about how he has gone into the industry, kind of how food was always part of his life. And it was funny because he said, hey, I don't even think, I never even knew that farm to table was a thing. That's just how he grew up near the Mediterranean. And he said he would go down to the market with his father and get fresh fish, and he would go back and get lemons from the lemon tree, and he never even bought a lemon until he was like 24. And it's crazy to think that now his restaurant goes through so much fresh vegetables. He goes through 100 pounds of tomatoes a day. So it's crazy. It's so awesome to sit down with him and kind of see where he came from and where he is today, and how that's influenced the way that he leads his team. I really love that he talked about how for the first half of your career, you're really focused on making sure that you're irreplaceable. And for the last half of your career, you're focused on making sure that you are replaceable and that you're building other leaders around you. I think it's a great lesson, not just for people in the hospitality industry, but really a lesson in general, whether you're a father, whether you're a mother, whether you're a chef, whether you're even in a different industry and you somehow stumbled across this YouTube video. So let's go ahead and hop into this episode with Shai. Welcome to the On My Feet podcast by Snibbs, the podcast where we sit down with people from the hospitality industry to hear how they got to where they are today, from bartenders to servers to partners and chefs like Shai Fargian, who we're going to talk with today. Shai, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. This is a great opportunity for me to be off my feet, but
Exactly. So Shai, for the people who don't know you, tell them who you are.
So my name is Shai Fargian. I'm the corporate chef and partner with YAFO Kitchen. We have 3 locations, and we're opening another one soon, hopefully. It's a fast casual Mediterranean concept where we serve made from scratch food, breakfast, lunch and dinner, and catering in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we serve about 2,300 people every day, all made from scratch, vegetables, proteins. So yeah, I'm a chef, I'm a father, I'm more of a cook. I always tell my people, like, what makes me a chef is the fact that I write schedules. But other than that, I'm a cook. I just like to feed people.
Yeah. And with 4 kids, I bet you're doing a lot of feeding.
Yes, 4 girls.
4 girls. Wow.
The opposite of you.
Wow. Yeah, I have all boys, 3 boys, going for the 4th boy, but Shai with 4 girls. By the way, YAFO, personal plug, YAFO is amazing. So me and Shai actually got connected because we were working with somebody else who used to work at YAFO. My wife was doing training and meal prep with her, and they were like, you got to try this place, YAFO. And since then, I must have spent thousands of dollars with you all. Your food is so good. I literally eat there every single Sunday, like without fail. And I have Shai has a spice here with his face on it, and it's it's so good. Your Middle Eastern grilling spice. Is that the secret recipe right there?
It's not. It's on the label. It's not so secret. The quantities are
not so secret anymore.
Quantities are not the same, but the ingredients are on the label.
Yeah. What inspired this seasoning?
So we use it at the restaurant. So I'm a big believer that I want to serve the best food I can serve. If it's local, it's a huge bonus for us, and we do use a lot of local product. But some of our product, like, we try to get the best food we can. So our spices for YAFO come from Israel. Pereg, it's an Israeli company, same spices I used to use when I was a sous chef in Israel. So when we started, we used to buy all the separate spices from them and then mix it together and make our own shawarma spice. And then now when we grew and we're doing a higher volume, I was able to have them pre-mix the spice and make my own spice blend. So if they're mixing
Wow.
them in, a couple of hundreds of pounds or thousands of pounds batches, I'm like, okay, and we get them in giant, like 25-pound bags. My question was like, can you also bottle it? It's the same thing we use at the restaurant. I just figured people have been asking me for the spice all the time, and I used to give them like little 2-ounces from the restaurant. I was just, I just hand it to people. So this also sell it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. What inspired you to start a career in hospitality?
I've always liked it. I grew up in a household. So my mother is American. She's from Portland, Maine. My father was born in Tehran, Iran. And then I grew up in Israel. They met in Israel. That's where I was born, raised. And then this is my second career. I had a career in the military. So I was a major in the military, and when I'd come home on the weekend, and I would always cook to all my friends and my family, and everybody's like, "Oh, you should start a restaurant. You're so good at it when you leave the military." And I left the military, and I went to school because my parents told me I got to get a degree. So I actually have a degree in economics and supply chain management, which is a huge benefit as a chef and as a restaurateur. So I did, like I said, we bring spices from Israel, and we bring organic chickpeas from California, and we bring cilantro from Mexico, and we bring like so many things that understanding economics and supply chain is really great for what I do now. During school, and I was 24 years old when I went to school. So during school, I figured, okay, I still want to be a chef and learn how to cook professionally. So I started working in Tel Aviv as a chef or as a cook. And once I graduated, I told my parents, okay, great. I got my degree. It's actually very useful, but I really prefer the kitchen to the office.
Yeah. What was it like being a chef in Tel Aviv?
Amazing. So Tel Aviv, Israel is really, really small. The farthest you can go from north to south is 5.5 hours, and from east to west is an hour and a half. So in the neighboring countries, there's not a lot of trade. So everything they use has to be fresh. When I was a sous chef in Tel Aviv, we would place our produce order by 10 p.m. 4 o'clock in the morning, they'll go pick the herbs and mushrooms.
Wow.
And then you get it at the restaurant by 11. So really whatever you got was picked same day, or worst case the day before, and then straight to the restaurant. Because it's so small, all the farms are up to an hour away. And when I came to the US in 2012, and everybody started talking to me about farm to table and stuff like that, I had no idea what we were talking about. I'm like, well, when we need fish, that fish was in the water the day before. When we needed parsley, that parsley was in the ground this morning. So for me, it took me a second to understand what farm to table is and how different it is. I'm also very, very fortunate. I grew up in a household where my family are farmers. My father's family, they had chicken coops, like egg-laying hens, and then we had orchards for peaches and watermelon. And in my parents' backyard, they have lemon trees and pomegranate trees and orange trees. So I've never bought a lemon until I was like 22. So
wow.
And lemons grow twice a year. So it's like, if you need a lemon, it was almost a chore, because one of us for our salad had to put shoes on and go to the backyard and get a lemon from the tree. Now when I look at the chef, I'm like, this is amazing. I can't believe I didn't appreciate it as a kid.
Yeah, you grew up farm to table, basically. Like, that was the only way.
Yeah, I mean, this is all you need. I grew up in the center of the Galilee, so 20 minutes from Akko, which is the on the Mediterranean. So every Saturday morning, my dad and I would go to Akko, get some fish that the fishermen would bring that day, and then they butcher it for you on the spot. You pick the fish, they butcher it, clean it, you take it home, put it on. And that was like and then we needed lemon, so I'd go to the tree and pick a lemon. And now
Wow.
what I'm doing now and how hard it is to get that kind of fresh product. I think that's what makes YAFO special, is that we do make those things as fresh as possible. You know, we make our cucumber tomato salad 3 times a day. And it was hard for me at the beginning to teach our chefs. I'm like, yeah, you can't make a big batch in the morning. You have to make it little batches all day long, which is hard on the volume that we do. And the understanding, like, this is eaten with every meal. And once you put salt and lemon juice on a tomato, you lose the quality of the tomato within minutes. How can we do that all day long, but keep the integrity of the food?
Yep. You got to get that?
Yep. I hung up.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, man. Well, that's great. Yeah, it all makes sense of what inspired the freshness of YAFO. And how big of a part do you feel like your dad had to play in that, of like kind of taking you along with him, taking you to the farmers markets, or would they call it a farmers market? No, or like a fish market?
We just call it, like, we would go to the closest city that's on the shore. It wasn't even a market. I mean, yes, there is a market there. They just call it the market. So in the same market, you can buy produce, you can buy fish, you can buy meat. And then my father, at some point, they sold their farm for my father's family, and my father used to work in the market. So he used to go and buy from farmers and then sell it in the farmers market. Like, he had a stand in different markets. So I grew up a lot working with him, just because that was our family business. So we would wake up, you know, if I didn't have school, I would wake up at like 3 a.m, drive 2 hours to the regional farmers market, buy a pallet of watermelon, load it to his truck, and then by 7 a.m. we have to go back in our hometown to our market and like unpack that whole thing and sell it.
Wow.
And so
wow, that taught you, I bet, so much about what you do now, right? Like, just preparing the meals for people who maybe aren't going to eat them for hours to come, but you're the one like sourcing everything, getting it all ready, and that there's that preparation that goes into it.
And I think, like, I don't know if I've ever put it together, but like, I grew up so centered around food, and my brother is also a chef, so I guess in the family. But it wasn't. Yes, we were centered about food, but it wasn't a big deal that it's fresh. It wasn't like, come taste this fish because it's fresh. It was like, this is just how it is.
Yeah, this is just how food is prepared. And that's really how food was designed to be prepared.
Yeah, it didn't make us feel special, the fact that we got a lemon from the tree and fish that was swimming 2 hours ago. Now it's special.
Yeah.
When I was 12, like, I don't like fish. I don't want to eat this. But now, you know, this is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. What has been like one of the challenges you faced, you know, going into your career, going from sous chef and now being, you know, at the partner level, you know, and running multiple restaurants and even different types of eateries? Like, what's been a challenge you faced and how have you overcome that?
I think the biggest challenge was to teach that kind of food to our team that didn't grow up eating that kind of food. So I have 3 different chefs at YAFO right now. We have 3 restaurants. One of them is Pakistani. The other one, who has like the most understanding of the food, but it's really not the same. One of them is Mexican, and the other one is American with a French heritage. So to take these people and spend enough time with them that they understand the philosophy of the food, and to get to the point that really, you know, we talked about it a little bit before, like what my greatest accomplishment is. My greatest accomplishment is the fact that they don't need me to be at the restaurant to make good food. Like, I try not to work on Sundays because it helps me prepare my family to the next week. But but you still go to YAFO and the food is still good. So for me, having the team that understand what it is, that was the biggest challenge. And still to this day, like in the last 2 weeks, I've been trying to dedicate time to working with every one of our cooks. So I took a list of all of our cooks, and I'm going to spend a shift with each one of them personally, because I
Wow.
want them to understand, like, they've never cooked the food. They don't know what falafel is. They don't know what color the shawarma needs to be. And for them to come in, it's not just to read a recipe, it's to understand the philosophy behind the food and adjust. Yes, we strive for consistency, but like, I don't run a McDonald's. Like, the food
Yeah.
comes fresh every day. We use 100 pounds of tomatoes at every YAFO every day.
Wow.
And for us to understand, sometimes the tomato is bigger, sometimes it's smaller, sometimes it's sweeter, sometimes it's harder. Sometimes you can't cut all the tomatoes today because it's off season and you got to let them sit on the shelf for 2 days. So now you got to,
Yeah.
order 300 pounds of tomatoes and sit on them until they're ready.
Yeah.
So for them to understand where I'm coming from and what I'm expecting and what the vision is for the food and do it when I'm not there, that was the biggest challenge. And I think that's also my greatest accomplishment at this point, because as a team, we were successful in that.
Yeah. Well, that's big. Congratulations on that. I wonder, I wonder how hard that is, especially culturally. Like, you growing up, seeing how much of an effect that has on the flavor, and maybe other cultures not having seen that. It's like you carry that vision with you, and now it sounds like you've put it into your team, and I can taste it as a consumer when I go and eat there.
So, and a lot about it is just like showing by example. And like, we the cucumber tomato salad, and then 4 hours later, we mix another batch, and then I tell them, okay, taste this batch and taste whatever's left over from the previous batch, and tell what it tastes like. How, because some of it, this is 4 hours. If we were slow, would have been 6 hours. It would take worse.
Yep.
So just like having them, and also, as harsh as it sounds as a chef, not be afraid to throw away food that's not up to our standard. We're a business. We try to make money. We all want to also work really hard on the food, and we don't want to throw food away. There's a shortage of food in the world, and it might sound really hard, but I did make sure they don't want to serve food that's not good just because they're trying to save money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when you run multi unit concept, at some point it gets to a financial thing, like how much we're spending on food costs, how are we profitable, our managers' bonus based on their efficiency and profitability. So to tell them, I'd rather you throw it away and we all lose money than serve this, because for me that's a bigger thing, not just because it's the integrity of the food, but also you're losing a customer or you're losing a guest. We always say we don't have guests, we don't have customers, we have guests. You're losing a guest if you're giving him food that's not up to what we want to do.
Yeah. This is a big operation too. Like, you're having multiple units. You have people. How many people work under you, or like how many people do you work across right now?
So I think probably 140, 150. So we have the three.
Okay.
I also oversee Kaya Soul, our Cuban restaurant. And then we're opening another Kaya Soul, and we're opening hopefully another YAFO. So hopefully at the end of the year, it's going to be a little over 200 people.
Wow. How do you balance that and being a dad of 4? Like, you mentioned the Sundays, you mentioned that. Like, take me into, if you're willing, take me into your home of like, how does Shai the father and Shai the executive chef partner, kind of function? How do you kind of do it across everything?
Mostly with the help of my wife, which also, so it's even a bigger challenge for us. And then we're very fortunate that my mother-in-law lives close to us, and she helps us a lot. But a lot of it is planning. I didn't used to be good at it, and I've only recently put myself on a set schedule. We're probably 8 years into opening YAFO. The biggest thing is to understand, take time to plan your time, which means I work on a schedule on my phone. If it's not on my schedule, I have a work schedule, I have a home schedule, I have a schedule that I share with my wife. And if on the phone, it's actually the only place where you can see all of them at the same time.
Yeah, on the Google Calendar
app?
The
Google Calendar and the Outlook overlap on the phone. So it's great. And every time
Yes.
they're all like
Yes.
overlapping. So I think, again, the understanding about what's important to you, and then taking time to manage your time. I sit down and I write my schedule. I started on Tuesday for the next week, and
Oh, wow.
where I'm going to be. And because when you have 4 locations, it's like, what's the best place for me as a manager? Who needs my help the most? Which cook am I going to really needs my attention? Or, I think the greatest thing that I have right now is that really we haven't had much turnover. All of my chefs have been with us for over 4 years. So really they don't need me much.
Yeah.
Come in, I taste the food, or I work with the line cook because they have to manage. They don't have time to work with the line cook all the time.
Yeah.
But the fact that a lot of time I get there and they're, you're in our way. So,
That's just a good thing. It's shown that you've
right.
paved the way, and yeah.
I have a chef friend of mine, Drew Dot. He once told me, you spend the first half of your career making yourself irreplaceable. You want to be the best. You want your boss to think that nobody can replace you. Like this restaurant will not work if I take a week off. But then you spend your second half of your career doing the exact opposite, building an operation that doesn't need you. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm at the point where we are trying to build an operation that doesn't need me. And I teach my chefs the same. Like, give your employees more responsibilities. Treat everybody like managers. People are not stupid. People want to excel. Give them the opportunity. And the more you do that, the easier your life would be.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Did somebody do that with you when you were coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I've really worked for great mentors. So when I started in Tel Aviv, my first mentor was Avi Biton. He's a big chef in Israel. He's got like TV shows and several restaurants. And he taught me a lot. We still keep in touch, and I try to see him when I go to Israel. Then I moved to Chapel Hill, and I worked for a chef named Yunus Sabach, who has a restaurant in Chapel Hill right now. Also taught me a lot of stuff. He's the one that gave me my first, he gave me the French Laundry cookbook and taught me a lot of refinement. Then I went to New York and worked for David Burke under Chris Shea was the chef that I worked for, Aiden Langdale, who has a restaurant in Dominican Republic. So really, I didn't go to culinary school. So my point was, okay, I'm going to go and find the best people that can teach me and hopefully pay me at the same time. And sometimes they didn't pay me, or I took, so I went from being an executive officer for a battalion in the military, running 600 people during war, having a driver and a secretary, to being a garde manger cook that's getting yelled at 1 a.m. because I didn't scrub the sink. But I took stride. I took it because okay, this is me learning. It's new. It's different. This is not the military. This is my, I'm trying to get better. And fortunately, I was determined enough to learn, and I was very fortunate to have really good mentors.
Yeah. No, that's big. I didn't realize you were over that many. So you were in charge of serving 600 people every day? In the military?
I was an operations officer. So.
Oh, okay, got it. So you weren't doing any chef work.
No. I did.
No, okay, got it. So you were just commanding the troops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
Food is the opposite. I was a combat officer. Got it.
What's been your overall your most memorable moment in the career? Just to date. You talked a little bit about getting into it, growing, kind of being around food all the time. And then once you were in it, it's making the team feel like, hey, we don't need Shai anymore. We can do this. He's empowered us. He showed us what success looks like. But is there a specific moment throughout all this that really stands out to you?
Professionally, I think is so like our managers write a log, like a summary every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I see something and I read their log and I'm like, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Or I was there
Yeah.
all day with them. Then I read the same log and like, this is as if I wrote this log. That
Yeah.
professionally, that's really the peak of my accomplishment.
Yeah.
I think that personally, the fact that when my family came to YAFO from Israel and really enjoyed the food, or when they come visit now and they want to go to YAFO, I'm like, you just came from Israel, you got the same food. And they're like, no, we really want to get your food because it's delicious. And not like they're being nice. My family is like super critical. They'll tell me if the food is bad. But when my family came from Israel, or even when I see like other Middle Eastern families eat at YAFO and they're like, oh, this is like my grandma's house, or this is like really reminds me of home. And it doesn't matter if you're Israeli or Lebanese or Egyptian. I have a lot of Middle Eastern people that come and eat there. That's on a personal level, really, it's great for me because it tells me I was able to bring my heritage into North Carolina. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. When people come to North Carolina, say somebody's coming through visiting Charlotte or anywhere in North Carolina, what would you recommend that they get if they stop by a YAFO?
It's that's like people ask me all the time, what's your favorite dish? I'm like, well, it's like asking which one of your kids you like most. The answer is on what day. Every day is different.
Oh, it's so good.
It really depends on you go through phases. Like some days when we put new dish on the menu, I'm like, this is the best thing ever. It's the new dish and everybody loves it. But really, some of our basics, our chicken schnitzel is amazing. Our build your own bowl, and just like something that's comforting. Our rice is, so my father was born in Tehran. Rice is a huge part of Persian cuisine, Persian cooking. So I use my grandma's recipe for rice, and there's whole cumin seeds in it. And we use a specific rice that's Thai jasmine rice that really, when I walk into YAFO and I open a rice spot, I'm like, damn, this reminds me of my grandma's house.
Wow.
So for me, if I go to YAFO and eat like rice with hummus, with shawarma, cucumber tomato salad, and sumac onion, that's it. I'm done. Like that.
Yep.
That's like the best thing for me because that's really at that moment I'm like transferred to my parents.
Oh, well, that's perfect. So if you heard it first, if you come to Charlotte, North Carolina, make sure to get the rice and make sure to, I would say, build your own bowl is can't go wrong with it because you kind of put a little bit of whatever you're into on it and everything is real fresh. I actually didn't realize that everything is as fresh as you're sharing with me here. I never knew that they're making it 3 times a day or any of that.
Yeah.
No wonder it tastes so fresh.
Because it's not about, I just want people to enjoy it. It doesn't matter for you. Yeah. When you go to a restaurant, I don't need to tell you the story of everything that happened, of the spices that came from Israel and like my line cook that didn't show up this morning. So somebody really what I want you to do is come in and like enjoy the food and have a great, hospitable experience, which is a little hard for us in the fast casual. But I think that's what also differentiates us is we don't try to rush you through it. There's a lot of options. And the food you said, like when people come to North Carolina looking for Middle Eastern food, what should they eat? That's like a whole thing we had to educate the people. Like people come in, it's like, what's falafel? I'm like, well, it's just like a hush puppy. So I really had to give them a different view of the food and do it within, like we want to get the people moving fast, but we want to give the attention to every person that goes through it.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Well, thanks for joining me today, Shai. And also thank you so much for pouring your heart and soul into YAFO. I mean, it shows, like you just said right now, like when I go in every time, nothing but, good food, good people. And now I understand why, just the love and care you put into building great leaders within the restaurant so that they can also build great leaders under them.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. This is, I guess I'll see you Sunday.
I'll see you Sunday. Or no, I won't see you Sunday because you'll be with the family. But oh, okay, got it. Yeah, so I'll see you Sunday, and Yeah, thanks so much for everything. Any final words for anybody listening that, maybe is getting into the hospitality industry that you wish maybe you knew sooner and you would want to impart on them?
It's really, really hard, and you really have to really like people. I know we do
Mm,
cook food, but it's about people. And that's why, like you said, we call it the hospitality industry, not the restaurant industry. I call them
mm,
guests, not customers, because I don't see a transaction, like a monetary transaction. I see a person. And
yeah.
like, yes, now I can balance my life. And like, we've gotten to the point that our teams are working better together. But I've spent many 70, 75-hour weeks. And when you open a restaurant, you have to work that amount of time. And it's hard, demanding work. But if you can make people happy with food at the end, it's totally worth it.
Wow. Well said. Well said. Well, thanks for joining me today on the show, Shai, and we'll connect offline.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Take care.